Fáilte, welcome to another oracle reading for the week ahead. Yesterday was a bank holiday in Ireland, and to be honest, I've actually been a bit under the weather. I've been working through the process of spagyrics, which is plant alchemy, working with seaweed, as some of you will know over the last few months. And I recently purified my seaweed salts and got sick in tandem. So, which is quite interesting, the way just often there is a symbiosis between what's happening, in psyche, so in soul, working with the psyche, and also then what happens to soma, to the body as a result, because we know that psyche and soma, soul and body work together, anam agus corp in the Irish language. But I'm here today, and the card that I have for us is from the beautiful Celtic Moon deck by Moon Mana. So created by the incredible Dr. Karen Ward and Bernie Sexton. It's a beautiful deck. So Sacred Ireland, Celtic Moon. And the card we have today is Ériu. So Ériu and sovereignty. And Ériu is where Ireland, Éire in modern Irish, gets our name. So the island is named after the goddess, named after this goddess of sovereignty. And you might be able to see in the back, there's two other figures with Ériu, because Ériu is a triple goddess. She has two sisters, Banba and Fódhla. And they're all poetic names for Ireland as well. Banba may even be the first potential name for Ireland and the first mythic ancestor to arrive here. But Éire's name, it's really beautiful. It has these kind of this texture of abundance, of, just rich soil, just that real depth of land, and abundance. This is an island of abundance, for our ancestors. And what's really interesting, to explore this card at this time is that we are coming upon Bealtaine. Bealtaine is the Irish word for the month of May. The mouth of fire. Some of you might know it as Bealtaine. And so we're coming up upon Bealtaine, and Bealtaine is an important time of arrival in a sense because during Bealtaine, um, Ériu, Banba and Fódhla met with the first almost human inhabitants to arrive on this land. So the supernatural was, were the inhabitants of Ireland. And then, these Miletians is what they're called in the mythology, who are, our human ancestors, essentially, the Gaels arrive in the shores led by a poet seer, a filla called Amergin. Amergin means, if I remember correctly, the wonderfully conceived. I think, Dahi O Hogoin, translated that, the wonderfully conceived, which would be very fitting for a poet. And it's interesting as well to think that, that the ancestors were led by a poet seer, not necessarily an invading warrior as such. But Ériu, Banba, and Fódhla decide to meet these new people because they are the sovereignty goddesses. So they are the full expression of the land. It really is up to them who is worthy of the land. And so, the culmination of this point is where Amergin meets with Ériu at Uisneach, which is Ireland's sacred navel. And, after negotiations, he says that he will name the land Ériu after the goddess. And then there's a whole other kind of part of this myth where, a challenge is set by the Tuatha Danann. Ériu, Banba and Fódhla are of the Tuatha Danann, the tribe of the goddess Danu, where they cast a great storm upon Amergin and his ships so that they have to remain 9 waves away from Irish shores, essentially. But Amergin manages to calm the waves by invoking this poem called The Song of Amergin, where he basically says that he is one with, the wind upon the wave, that he is one with the stag, that he is one with the salmon in the pool, that he is one with the fire that puts, the god that puts fire, the imbas, the fire of inspiration in the head. And as a result, the storm calms because he recognizes that, he has an inherent connection to the oneness of all of life, that all of life is alive with soul, and that is part of him and, his connection to the more than human kin. And so what happens after this is that, the TUATH go into the she. She means hollow hills, fairy mounds. It's really the dwelling place of the divine within the Irish language. So into the land, also into, like the likes of Newgrange in Irish is she on Vrú. So the womb of, the dwelling place, I guess, the fairy mound, the womb or mansion, fairy mound. And what's really interesting is I'm actually having difficulty trying to articulate this in English because she also is the name that we call the Tuatha Danann, right? The she, they are the shining ones. So the she is both the divine itself and the dwelling place of the divine because for our ancestors, nature and the divine cannot be separated. Everything is ensouled. And so you know, in terms of the energy of Eru, for me, it's really about this kind of energy of arrival at Bealtaine and arrival into a new consciousness, right? Because what happens is the divine goes into the land, it becomes the land itself, and it's this consciousness that we can no longer see. We can't see the goddesses and gods; they're in the land themselves, but it's about developing a consciousness. They're gone below consciousness, right? Below the waking eyesight, and it's about our ability to be able to access that unseen consciousness in co-creation. And we do this, by working in harmony with nature. And this kind of sparked, because I wrote a little bit about this in, my membership a while back around, I do these monthly mythic ancestor profiles where I'll profile a goddess or god. And I did one, last year for Ériu, Banba and Fódhla. And in it, I had shared a quote from this book here, The Return of the Feminine and the World Soul by Llewellyn Vaughan-Lee. And I'm just going to read the quote from that now. Just bear with me one sec. Let me see if I can get it up. Yeah, so he says, the light of the world soul is waiting to be used to connect us with the inner powers that belong to matter and to life itself. The real world is an enchanted place full of magical powers waiting to be used. And as the alchemists understood, the anima mundi, right? So the anima mundi is the feminine soul of the world. So the anima mundi is a creative force. It is the artist, the craftsperson, the inner vision, which shapes and differentiates the prime matter, giving it form. So it's just this beautiful kind of image of, the world and nature as ensouled with this essence that, as creatives that we get to work with, um, through whatever way you want to bring that to life. For me, it's through all manner of ways. It's through meditation, it's through active imagination, it's through moving my body with a myth, it's through capturing my dreams because my dreams are emerging from the same place. It's going out onto the land and communing with the more than human. There are so many ways to do this, and this is key. To the ancestral consciousness as well of being connected to the unseen realm because the divine is within nature and it is unseen. So yeah, so I guess an invitation this week as we move into the season of Bealtaine to just invite in that awareness of the unseen realm and of, how you might connect to this energy so that you can, yeah, work in co-creation with the unseen realm, with the likes of Ériu, Banba and Fódhla and all of our mythic ancestors. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I know I'm a bit, my head is a bit like cotton wool today. So yeah, so thank you for bearing with me. And yeah, just wishing you a beautiful, beautiful week ahead. Slán for now. Bye.